Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back here to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica and this is a vlog. It's Sunday, February the 4th. Let's chat about what I'm reading. On audiobook, I'm picking up Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I don't really know anything about this other than it's a thriller. And I read another book by Sarah Pinborough like a year ago and really liked it, so I wanted to read more of her backlist. So that's what I'm reading on audio. The big book I'm reading, if you've been watching my vlogs, you can guess what the big book is. I'll let you guess down below. You know what it is? You remember what I'm reading? Because I've been reading it for over a month now. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I'm loving it. It's just slow going because you can't rush Donna Tartt's writing. And I'm on page 275, which is about halfway through. I have got to finish this month. I do not want this lingering through another month. So this is going to be a priority read for me. And then the under 500 pages book that I'm reading is Burnout: The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. I got this from my library. And it's by Emily Nagasaki and Amelia Nagasaki. They're sisters. They decided to write this book together. Oh my gosh, my bookmark fell out. It is nonfiction, self-help, I believe, with some science. The back says burnout. You, like most American women, have probably experienced it, and that's why you're reading the back of this book. What's expected of women and what it's really like to exist as a woman in today's world are two different things, and we exhaust ourselves trying to close the gap. Sisters Emily Nagasaki and Amelia Nagasaki are here to help end the all too familiar cycle of feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. They compassionately explain the obstacles and societal pressures we face and how we can fight back. In these pages, you'll learn what you can do to complete the biological stress cycle, how to manage the monitor in your brain that regulates the emotion of frustration, how the bikini industrial complex makes it difficult for women to love their bodies, and how to defend yourself against it. With the help of eye-opening science, prescriptive advice, and helpful worksheets and exercises, all women, that's ambitious, all women will find something transformative in these pages and be empowered to create positive change. I have read the introduction section, and what stood out for me from that was the definition of burnout. So on page 6, it says, when it was first coined as a technical term by Herbert Freudenberger in 1975, burnout was defined as 3 components. Emotional exhaustion, the fatigue that comes from caring too much for too long. 2, depersonalization, the depletion of empathy, caring, compassion. And 3, decreased sense of accomplishment, an unconquerable sense of futility, feeling that nothing you do makes any difference. I hit that so hard in about August 2023. And in October 2023, I started the process of trying to recover from this level of burnout. I felt that description to my core. Like, that just so perfectly describes the burnout that I've been feeling. And I've been trying to pour more energy into the things that feel like life-giving to me, which, like, vlogging is one of those things. And trying to just, like, I don't know, fix. So long story short, I saw this book in the library and I read the description and I was like, fix me. Fix me, book. Fix me. Even though, I have to fix me. But that's what I'm reading for my regular sized book. So that covers my current reads. There really are exercises and stuff in here. I'm looking and there's like some charts and things. Like, we'll see. We'll see if this helps. I'm going to do a video series on the various books I'm reading as part of this burnout recovery process and like what I took away from them and what works for me from them. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and start filming that, but I've already read like 10 books. And so look for that series coming soon. Today is Sunday. My plan is literally just to edit YouTube videos until I have to go to the barn and do chores. And then we've been doing this thing at the barn Sunday nights where we get together and we watch horse training videos and talk about them. And then when the weather gets better, we're going to start implementing some of the stuff we watched in the training videos. So that's kind of nice. It gives me something to think about and work on with Miss Dolly. And that, I mean, that's the day. That's the day. I'm probably going to do some house chores in between booktubing and at some point read in there as well.
So I said that I was going to be reading Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, but when I went to add it to my Goodreads, I saw that it's available on Kindle Unlimited. So I am going to read it on Kindle Unlimited instead of using a library checkout for it. And I picked up instead Winterkill by C.J. Box, which is book 3 in the Joe Pickett series. Just an update. That's my horse right there. That's my horse. Hi, Miss Doll. I better go say hi to her. Hi. Hi. Oh, you'll get pets soon enough. It is almost dinner time. It'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, it is Monday. I was up bright and early this morning. You saw me getting some coffee because Mr. Buttershaw got the big snip today. And I'm about ready to go pick him up and finish up my work day here. And I just wanted to check in. I read last night The Secret History. That book is very heavy, but I'm still really liking it. The writing is exquisite. Today I'll be reading the Burnout book because if you're new here, I rotate between a book over 500 pages and a book under 500 pages. And speaking of books over 500 pages, I will be starting a year-long buddy read with my friend Chelsea at Read Chelsea Read. We are going to be working through the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath, which is a heck and chonker with really tiny print. Probably going to be really heavy if you know anything about Sylvia Plath. So I'm actually really looking forward to this because I adore Sylvia Plath's writing. And we're just going to take it in like small sips throughout the rest of 2024. I think we decided to read 65 pages a month to get through all of these journal entries. So I will be starting this and I'll be talking to you about it throughout the rest of the year as these, or as we progress on our little buddy read here. I guess I shouldn't say little. This is kind of an undertaking, right? A year-long buddy read. That's not little. That's a big baby. So that is the update.
I'm cleaning their little area, hence the trash bag in the corner there, but aren't these boys just the cutest, sweetest little creatures you've ever seen? Lando and Elle are good friends. They have been since they were little babies. So cute. Cute little buddies. Their space is all clean. Yeah, isn't it, buddy? All clean and fresh. Stop. Hi, baby. It is Tuesday. I went to Panera and this time I got a Greek salad. Should we do a shake? Take that, Kardashians. I will probably finish Winter Kill by CJ Box tonight and get a good chunk of reading done on everything else as well.
Hello, happy Thursday. It's Thursday, February 8th. We're having weather that feels like spring. It's like 50 degrees out, and I really don't like it. We got like 2 weeks of winter this year, and I feel the best in winter. So for those of you who are summer lovers and hate winter, like it would be like you getting 2 weeks of summer. And that in combination with a bunch of other junk, I'm not doing great mentally. But I am getting a lot of reading done because escapism. Audiobooks. I finished Winter Kill by CJ Box, and I can't remember if I wrapped it up yet or not. I gave it 4 stars. Again, so far all of the books in this series have gotten 4 stars. I am anticipating a 5-star at any moment. But this one was about a group of essentially insurrectionists that live a nomadic lifestyle that move into Saddle Spring to camp out for a bit, and then like all these, what do we want to call them? All these corrupt federal people from the Forest Department and the FBI and whatever arrive, and they want to like attack this encampment even though they haven't done anything wrong. These are like people who survived like Ruby Ridge and Waco, and a lot of them were like children of those families, so really were kind of innocent in that moment, and they're just trying to like move on with their lives and find peace, and they really hadn't done anything wrong. And so now Joe Pickett's like in the middle of the situation where he's like trying to deal with these corrupt federal agents. And his daughter April, that they adopted, her birth mother is part of this nomadic group, and she wants to take her daughter back. And so now this group has April, and he's really worried that like if the feds try to ambush this group, that April's going to end up getting hurt. He's really in a pickle. He's really in a tough spot. And, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but this was a heavy one. This was a really heavy one. With this series, it's not like some mystery thriller police procedural series where the detective or whoever the main character is sees all this carnage and then is just fine, and then in the next book they've moved on and they're on to the next scene of carnage. This one really deals with the fallout of seeing some of this stuff, the post-traumatic stress that's starting to develop for Joe and for Joe's family. And it deals with it in, I feel like, a more realistic way than some of the other books that I've read. Even the Rizzoli and Isles books, I mean, it's not the worst of them. Like in Rizzoli and Isles, Jane and Maura still have trauma, and Tess Gerritsen comes back to that trauma in every book and kind of writes about, oh yeah, she's still having nightmares or whatever. But CJ Box does it better. CJ Box does it better. This is quickly becoming one of my new favorite series. And I've already put the next book in the series on hold through audio. It might be, depending on how things go, if it doesn't go totally off the rails as the books progress, it might be a series that I collect for my physical library and reread, similar to what I do with the Tess Gerritsen series. The next audiobook I picked up was Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read Beach Read last month and I really liked it, so I want to read her backlist stuff. I didn't like this one. This is a second chance romance, and I think that's the crux of it for me. I don't like second chance romance. It doesn't hold any intrigue for me. So that, kind of was working against it, and then I just was very bored with the whole setup of it. It just felt very blah. So I DNF'd it. And then I picked up a memoir called Hijab Butch Blues. And this is about a woman, well, I think that they're trans actually, but I don't know what country they're in, but they keep saying they're growing up in a Muslim country, an Arab country. And it talks a lot so far about their childhood and growing up a Muslim and starting to explore like gender and sexuality as someone who's a part of this culture and who's kind of a devoted Muslim. Not someone who feels, at least not yet, who feels like entrapped or suffocated by the culture, at least not yet. That might develop into that. But this person is someone who loves God, who loves Allah. And something I'm appreciating about this, I really don't know that much about Islam. I have not read the Quran or anything like that. And I'm learning a lot about it through this book. And they really quote a lot of passages from the Quran and discuss a lot of the stories from the Quran. And I'm surprised at how much of it overlaps with the Bible. I'm not surprised that their God is a loving, gentle God. That's not surprising to me. I knew that. I know that the stereotypes about Islam are stereotypes, and it's actually a very loving and peaceful religion. So I'm enjoying learning about it. I have read some criticism, though, on that side of it, that they are misinterpreting some of these verses from the Quran and that they're not representing Islam correctly. I don't know how true that is, because I don't know anything about it. But, keep that in mind, that there have been some critics out there of this. What I'm appreciating about this is just the learning part. I'm not feeling any particular way about the story. The writing style is pretty, I would say it's kind of detached. The writing style is a bit detached. The narrator is a bit detached from the story. I'm not getting an emotional pull into this person's life, although I will always champion marginalized voices getting to tell their story. So I appreciate this. I am enjoying the learning process of it, learning about someone else's experience that's so different from mine, because I really value that and I think that's important, but I'm feeling nothing as I read it. So I'm about 25% into that one. Still reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and I am making good progress because I want to prioritize getting this done in February. I don't want to carry it over into March. There's a quote I wanted to read you that gutted me. In this story from page 1 that this friend group, one of their friends in the friend group, is murdered. So I will read this quote but omit any names to prevent spoilers. They're talking about the murder of this person. On page 302, it says, "But how," said, spoiler name, who is close to tears, "how can you possibly justify cold-blooded murder?" Spoiler name lit a cigarette. "I prefer to think of it," he said, "as redistribution of matter." Psycho! Oh my gosh. My battery's starting to die. I hope I can make it through the rest of this update before it does. I finished Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. 2 stars. I'm so disappointed by this book. So disappointed by this book. The first 2 chapters are excellent. The first 2 chapters actually deal with the title, Burnout and the Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. The first 2 chapters are what they should have focused on and stuck with. And the first 2 chapters are what I actually got something out of the book. So the first 2 chapters are about stress and how to complete the stress cycle, psychologically, physically, etc. And then the second chapter is about managing your expectations in a way that will prevent you from emotional exhaustion. Because I think part of why we get emotionally exhausted is we set our expectations way too high. We don't meet those expectations, and then we feel that like self-loathing or whatever. Those 2 chapters were excellent. The rest of the book is completely off topic. The rest of the book talks about patriarchy. It talks about body image. I mean, what? I know that patriarchy is a big part of burnout, and it's one of those factors like capitalism that we can't change, that demands women be selfless giving machines, and that we need to find a way to set boundaries around that. I know that, but that could have been 1 chapter, not the whole rest of the book. So like 90% of this book is not related to the title. 10% of it is, but 10% is not a lot, right? And then, okay, there's nothing groundbreaking in here either about, in those first 2 chapters, about how to manage the stress cycle. Their advice is exercise. Okay, we knew that. Positive self-talk and, getting rid of your cognitive distortions. Okay, we knew that. Connecting with your support group. Okay. Like, there's nothing new. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. This is so disappointing. I was so hoping this book would fix me, but it's not going to do that. I think I will take away and keep in mind that completing the stress cycle part, because I do think I interrupt my own stress cycle. So I will use that, and I will keep trying to, reframe my expectations, but like trash. I mean, not total trash, but like those 2 chapters could have been an article, or they could have focused on that for the whole book and actually gotten into some better research about that. And like some of the sources in here felt like terrible. Like she quotes Cassandra Clare, for Christ's sake. Cassandra Clare is not a stress and burnout expert. All right, I'm done talking about that. You can tell I don't like it. You can tell I didn't get a lot out of it. 2 stars. The next physical book that I'm going to pick up is This Dark Descent by Kaylin Josephson. This is one from my bookshelves because I need to escape into some fantasy. I just need to. This is an edition that I got from OwlCrate, and I know that OwlCrate, there's controversy about them, but I have the book, so I'm going to read it and enjoy it. But look at this cover. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Look at the edges. It is beautiful. Promise me you will be fearless, is what that says. Now, OwlCrate covers always have artwork on the inside of the covers, and I take the covers off when I read. So let's look at the inside of the cover. Stunning, stunning, absolutely stunning. Okay, so it says, the Russell family is infamous throughout Enderlin as breeders of enchanted horses, but their prestige is no match for their rising debts. If you're into horses, you're going to have debts. To save her family's ranch, Makira Russell is left with only one option. Enter the Illinier, a treacherous cross-country horse race known as much for its high body count as its enticing prize money. To have any chance of success, Makira will have to recruit Ariel Kadar, a talented but unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien Adair, a dashing young lord in the midst of a fierce succession battle. Both have mysterious reasons of their own to help Makira, as well as their own blood feuds to avenge. Steeped in Jewish folklore, This Dark Descent is a spellbinding new fantasy full of intrigue, romance, and pulse-pounding action. In a world as dangerous as this, will hidden agendas and conflicting desires butcher Makira, Ari, and Damien's chances of winning the Ilanir, or will another writer's dagger? Oh my gosh! I have to read this. I have to read this. Well, I mean, obviously I'm going to be reading this. So, let's look at the book. The cover. Look at the cover! This screams a Jessica. Horses. Jewels. Cats. Voids. Do not be afraid of your own power. Embrace it. Here's the... Oh my God. Ah! Look at this. 4 races, 100 riders, 1 winner. Oh my God, look at it. And then the inside cover. I can't deal with it. This is already a favorite book and I haven't read it yet. Ooh, it's so beautiful and it's a signed copy. Okay. All right. I am going to just frackin' devour this. Ugh. Ugh. I already love it. Oh, here's an hierarchy of some of the royals. It has royals. I feel like this book was written for me. Royals. Oh my God. More family trees. Oh my God. I just, oh, gimme.
I was feeling a little down tonight, and so I wanted to do something life affirming, and I started planning out my bucket garden for this season, the 2024 garden season. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I grow vegetables and stuff in 5-gallon buckets because I don't have much of a yard or anything to garden in, and I love to garden. And I call myself an urban homesteader, so always trying to improve those skills. So anyway, I this year want to continue growing tomatoes because right now in this season of my homesteading journey, I'm getting really good at growing tomatoes. I grew 25 pounds of tomatoes last year without really working at it a whole lot. But I have more buckets now, and so I want to expand the variety of vegetables that I grow. I've tried cucumbers and it didn't work at all. Maybe I'll try 1 bucket this year just to keep working at it, to try to keep learning at it, because I do have some cucumber seeds that I can start. Like, might as well keep trying, like with 1 bucket, right? Because I love pickles. So, okay, so we'll do the tomatoes. We'll do my usual hot peppers. I am good at growing the hot peppers, so I'll do my usual hot peppers. And then I want to try green beans because I was thinking about all of the vegetables that I eat a lot of throughout the winter. And I eat a lot of tomatoes and a lot of green beans. I also eat a lot of broccoli and like lettuces. I don't think broccoli would do well in a bucket, but sorry, the cats are doing zoomies that distracted me. I'm going to try doing different lettuces as well and amping up my herb game. I do really well growing like basil and oregano. Those did really well for me last year and the year before, so I'm going to continue doing a lot of basil. But my next step up from that is to see if I can continue growing like kale and some nice lettuce and like basil and parsley indoors over the winter, because I'd like to be able to just grow that stuff for my bunnies, at least, you know, part of it for my bunnies to save some money on how much I have to feed these bunnies, at least with the little ones staying here right now. And, you know, always looking to be more frugal in my life. So I did, and this is going to sound hypocritical because I went and I purchased tonight a grow light because there's a space in my basement and my pantry area that have 2 fish tanks that don't have fish in them anymore that I'm going to convert into seed starting grow out stations for my garden. And then over the winter, my herb and lettuce garden will be in that area. I have one grow light that I use for my Venus flytraps that I'm overwintering. And so I think I'll move those downstairs to that area as well. And if you want me to share that process, please let me know. I might just share it anyway, because part of why I like to do YouTube is to document my life, and this stuff's really important to me. So you might get it whether you want it or not. But my videos are always time stamped. So anytime you want to skip over portions, that is always an option to check the timestamps for you. But that's kind of what I'm planning for gardening this year. So I ordered my grow light tonight, and then I also ordered some seeds. I have a lot of tomato seeds. There were a couple more that I ordered that I don't have seeds for. They were plants that I bought at the greenhouse I go to last year that I loved. And I discovered a new favorite tomato of mine last year. Super productive in terms of output of fruit, and the flavor is super good. They're called chocolate sprinkle tomatoes. So I bought some seeds for that, and I bought Cherokee purple tomato seeds because I also really like those. So otherwise I have plenty of tomato seeds because that's mostly what I've been focusing on as a gardener is tomatoes. Then I also bought a couple of different green beans, and I think what will do best in buckets will be bush beans, because they're the beans that don't require a whole lot of space horizontally. You can mostly get them to move vertically in their growth. So I got a couple different bush beans to try, some green beans. I got kale to try, and then I'm going to look around locally for some other lettuce seeds. And then I got a parsley, a basil, and a rosemary for herbs. And then a flower is called a moonflower, and it's a night blooming flower. It's not anything like that I'm going to be able to eat or do anything like that with, but it's just one of those guilty pleasures. Like, I would love to have a night blooming jasmine. That's one of my bucket list plants, is a night blooming jasmine. So anyway, I got a moonflower. It's really pretty. So also wanted to share, I get my seeds. I always make sure, because it's important to make sure that the seeds you get are heirloom seeds. So these are seeds that have been preserved over time. They produce the highest quality vegetables. And if you plan to do any seed saving, which I recommend you learn about seed saving if you want to get into homesteading, you can't seed save well or effectively unless your starter plants come from an heirloom seed. So I get my seeds from primarily 2 places. The first is an organization, nonprofit organization located here in Iowa in Decorah called Seed Savers Exchange. They specialize in heirloom seeds. And then the other one is Baker Creek Seeds. And they specialize not only in heirloom seeds, but in like these rare, stunning, beautiful vegetables. Like, oh, Baker Creek seed catalogs are some of the most beautiful artwork out there. I swear, if you can take a look at a Baker Creek seed catalog, it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The plants are so beautiful. So if you are thinking of starting a garden, I recommend doing heirloom seeds. They are on the pricier side, but they're going to produce better plants and better vegetables, or whatever it is you're growing. They're going to produce better plants for you. And if you decide to seed save from those plants, you'll be able to do that more successfully. Even if you can't afford an heirloom seed, any seeds you can get your hands on. I know a lot of local libraries have seed starting programs and seed saving exchange programs and things like that. And I just want everybody to grow a garden. Like, I want everybody on planet Earth to have a garden, even if you're just growing in buckets or you're growing a single basil plant on your porch. It's just so important. It's just so important that we stay connected to the earth in that way. All right. I think that's my non-bookish rant for the day.
Hi, it's Sunday. I want to wrap up this vlog and start the next one. I ended up finishing on audiobook Hijab Butch Blues by Lamia H. I gave it 4 stars. I ended up really enjoying this. I picked it up because the title is a shout out basically to one of my favorite books of all time called Stone Butch Blues by Leslie Feinberg. And it doesn't quite live up to that book, but it's still really good in its own right. I really appreciated learning more about Islam. I really don't know much about it. I liked the opportunity to get to learn sections of the Quran from this story. And it is this individual's like interpretation of the Quran. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, but I appreciated it. I appreciated learning from this perspective. I appreciated the story. And, you know, I'm always going to champion marginalized voices getting to tell their story. So I did give it 4 stars. And then I made some good progress on The Secret History. I do think I'm going to be able to finish it here in February. I'm still really loving it. That's all I can really say about it. And then I started this Dark Descent, and I am very much enjoying this. I really do feel like this was a book written specifically for me, because there's so many little elements in here that are just things that I specifically love, like these niche little things where I'm like, how? Like, I love lavender. I love lavender scented things, like everything, not everything. A lot of the stuff that I have in my life, like I like lavender deodorant, and I have lavender candle melts, and I have lavender coffee flavoring to put in my coffee. Like, I love lavender. And at one of the farms, they're just walking through just this sea of lavender. Like, there's just so many little moments like that where I'm like, this book was written specifically for me. Like, it's speaking to me at a really weird spiritual level almost. I really like the character Ariel. Ariel is an enchantress, and she's basically been driven out of her home as a refugee because of this war that's happening, and she gets hired to create an enchanted horse for this horse race that the main character has to enter. And her character is so interesting, and what I relate to with her on is she is part of this like ethnic group, but she doesn't know much about her culture and her heritage and all of that, and like a lot of it has just been erased, or there's so much prejudice against them that the families have had to hide and keep their culture private in order to protect it. And I feel like Irish Travelers, which is the group I am from, like we have had to do that. We've had to keep our culture very private, so almost no one really even knows we exist, but it's been a survival tool. So I definitely related to her on that. Like this, it's a little bit spooky. I'm trying not to use the word spooky. It's a little bit chilling how much I'm connecting with this book. And I think it's specifically a me thing. I don't know that everybody's going to connect with it. I don't know that everybody's really even going to like it all that much. But I am really liking it. I am really, really liking it. That'll do it for this vlog. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts on any of the ideas talked about here, or if you've read any of the books, or if you're planning on reading any of these books. If you just want to let me know that you're here, go ahead and leave me the horse emoji. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.